All right. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Unrestrained podcast here. My name is Alfred. I'm alongside the team. We're ready to go. We started this nice recording here. We're getting ready, man. There's just so much to talk about, man. How are you guys, fellas? What's it going, fellas? How you guys doing?
What's going on?
Excellent.
Yeah, we're back, man. Unrestrained. Thanks for showing up again, guys. We're keeping it rolling here. Just got a lot to talk about. We're kind of sitting here looking at all the headlines, and we're like, man, there's just too much. And I think it was, well, we didn't have an episode last week. We're off every second Tuesday. And the young guys, I guess, weren't able to make it. But in the last 2 weeks, just a week alone, a lot's gone on, right? Israel bombing, Iran throwing some bombs out to Israel. We got crazy illegals over in New York demanding jobs, apparently. All kinds of crazy. But we were going to start off with, we got Alex back. Let me go ahead and have him.
What's going on, everybody?
Yep.
Yeah. No, man. It's one of those things that we the more that you pay attention to, the more you want to not pay attention anymore, right? Because you start to learn all the crazy. You start to learn all the crazy that's going on, and it can drive you crazy. But you have to stay stoic. You have to start to just really pay attention, open your eyes, but don't let it affect you and what you have to do every day, right?
Yep.
Because it can easily consume you, and that consumption can affect your emotion. That emotion can affect what you do and how you act, right? So we just want to inform, man. That's why we're here. We're going to bring up some articles, and we're going to say our piece, and just hopefully what you do with that is go and do your own research, right? You don't have to listen to what we're telling you or what we believe. You just got to go and just open your eyes to some of this stuff and do your own research and make your own decisions, right?
Yep. So yeah, Alfred was just telling us about some crazy story about some gender affirming care that they're dishing out, and I guess we'll put this. Some gender affirming.
I like the way they word all that stuff, right?
Word in. So I guess we'll put the picture up, right, Alfred, so they can see what we're talking about. But
That's
go ahead, man. Tell them the story on this crazy deal.
Yes, sir. So we have Live Up TikToks, right? And the account actually just started promoting some of the things that are happening with the gender affirming care. As you guys know, when it comes down to these kind of surgeries, it's just sad, man. It's sad to see this, that, kids are actually going through this process. Frankenstein, an arm to create a fake, penis, and what it says there, it says the Supreme Court ruled today that in Ohio, let me get this right here without glasses, bro. When you get that age, bro, you can't read, and you're just like, man, golly, and now you make it worse. So it says the Supreme Court today ruled that Ohio can enforce a ban on procedures and treatment. This is the biggest medical scandal in modern history, and it must be stopped. Man, if you guys look at the picture, bro, the lady, the hand, look at her hand, bro.
Well, she's not a lady, right? She's how old is she?
I think it looks like a child. I mean, this has to be a child. It has to be somebody under 18 for sure.
Yeah, and apparently what it looks like is that they took a graft from her arm, right? Is that what they're saying? Some cartilage, some skin.
Some skin, the muscle.
To create a penis.
That's right.
Right. So they mutilate this girl's arm, which I believe is a minor.
Yeah.
To create a penis. It's insane, guys. It's I'd like to know who the parents are. I mean, it's crazy, man, the things that are going on, and I just cannot believe that anybody would even do that. It's crazy.
It's wild, man. It's wild. I mean, we've been saying it here. When we have these discussions, man, some of the policies that has been thrown out from progressives, right, and left-leaning individuals, man, this is what they want. You know what I mean? They titled this nicely in a way where people and voters get to really just come out and vote and say, yeah, this is what it is gender affirming care. But at the end of the day, man, I call it mutilation, man. When you're having penises, breasts being removed from children, when you're having these these surgeries, Frankenstein surgeries, I call them, being implemented on somebody, a minor who can't even decide, first of all, the child doesn't know what the child doesn't know what's right or wrong.
And ultimately, look, me personally, I don't care what you want to do with yourself as an adult. You know, what you do behind closed doors, how you do it. You want to cut your off, you want to do whatever. That's on you as an adult. You make those decisions, right? But I mean, there's laws in place for a reason, right? You can't buy alcohol until you're 21, right? Because children can't make those type of decisions, right? They don't want to be impaired. You can't buy cigarettes. You can't. There's lots of things that children can't do on their own for a reason, right? To protect them. And this is just insane. It's beyond belief. I can't see, other than crazy, left wing parents that are on their own spectrum themselves, and they want their kids to just do the same thing. Other than those people, I don't think there's a sane person on this earth that would be okay with this.
Nah, bro. And the thing is, those parents are even proud of it. Like, they feel so good about themselves because the propaganda has made this an issue where you're righteous if you support this, right? You're the righteous one. You're the one that cares. You're the one that is good, and you love people. Therefore, you believe this, and you go along with people mutilating their arms, children in this case, but anybody, right? And man, I have a tattoo that I covered up because I got it. I regretted it as a teenager. Yeah,
and
crazy.
Tattoos, can't you? You can't even get a tattoo. Why? Because you're doing permanent damage to your body before the age of 18, right? Because you're too young.
You're too young.
Yet they're cutting off, penises and doing all this crazy gender affirming care, right?
Yeah. It's crazy. It's like the programming, right, Alex? That's what we talk about. The television, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And programming people to buy in, believe that this is actually good and loving, that you support this kind of crazy. But if you were in the right mind, you would
doing
realize
this in
crazy.
The schools too. The programming is not only television, but there's programming happening in the educational system, the teachers, and this is something that this programming is somebody's doing this for a reason.
Yeah, and you think about, I think I mentioned this before. Some of us look back at and criticizing, the Germans back during the Hitler, Nazi Germany, wondering how did the populace allow the atrocities to happen back then. Well, now you know how it happens, because people, do you not think that the Nazis were just gung ho about this, right? They thought they were, righteous by getting rid of the evil Jews, because the Jews were taking all their jobs and money, and the propaganda, the cartoons they were putting out where they were filthy and they caused diseases and they were the reason for all their problems. Yeah. Right. So those crazy Nazis that were actually exterminating people, putting them in the trains, rounding them up in the ghettos with the dogs, I compare them to people that support this kind of nonsense. Yeah. They believe they were doing something good, that they were being loving, and that they were actually doing a positive thing, right?
Yeah, and that's this is hard to believe, but it's the truth that everybody has a positive intention for all their actions, no matter how atrocious it may seem. In their mind, they're doing something positive. Right. Somebody who goes out and murders a ton of people and does a mass shooting or whatever, in their mind they're doing something positive.
Right. Yeah.
It's hard to understand.
Yeah. Dictators believe that.
Dictators believe. I mean, Hitler did. Hitler believed it.
Yeah. Chairman Mao, I thought he was doing a good thing by during the Cultural Revolution, destroying all their history, enslaving everyone basically. Let all these policies he passed for starvation to control the populace, all to make China great. Yeah. That sort of thing. Because they believe they're doing something good. And yes, there's greed and all that, power hungry. But I believe it starts off with them really buying into a narrative that they think is a good thing. Then we get into Marxists and so people, they believe in socialism, right? Right. They believe in these things because they buy into these narratives that, hey, this capitalist system is not fair. We want to adopt a socialist system where everyone's equal, right? Yeah. And so they believe in this because they care. They believe they're doing something good, but being ignorant and oblivious to the fact that it's actually going to cause a lot of harm, suffering, and starvation, right?
Right.
So I don't know how we got there, because we started off with gender affirming care, but it's the same. It's the same. I think it's the same mentality, right?
Right. Right.
What? No, you're onto something. I mean, that's one of the things that we've been discussing, man. That's what we've been challenging people, man, to really just use your brain on certain things. Use common sense, man. When it comes down to these names and these titles, man, I hear this a lot, man. And the the progressives or the people, liberal, left-leaning people, are very good at labeling things that are so good that are that really just to buy in or to sell a product. But at the end of the day, bro, it's trash. It's garbage. We're seeing this played out exactly what we're talking about. Do you guys remember the sanctuary cities? Yep. I mean, remember back in many moons ago, right? A couple years ago, 3 years ago, we had the mayor from New York saying that New York has a brand. Remember, we have a brand, New York, right? He went to where was it, Oklahoma or somewhere, and he was telling all the people, I'm sure he meant to say it to all the rednecks, right? Because or people out there, from Oklahoma, or people out there and saying, rednecks. Hey, we have, and they came out and said that. They said, hey, he came out here to the boonies and just to tell us that there's a brand. And their brand is actually being a sanctuary city. But right now, bro, there's a backfire to it. Right now, we just seen reports that in New York City, right, in the city, in the mayor's office, right, the New York City, City Hall, we have approximately 1,000 immigrants from Africa. There's people, Muslims. There's people from Haiti, right, or Haiti. There are people from Haiti, and so there's a large amount, and this is the brand, bro. And now they're coming in to New York City Hall and want, they want funding, they want money, they want to be, this is what they came for. They came to America to work, but unfortunately, what's going on?
Yeah, this goes back to what we were talking about. This is where the racist Democrat Party and liberals deceive people from other countries to coming in here. To come here, risk their lives, right? And these people were probably lied to, or I don't know, maybe it's debatable. Is it fair for me to say they were lied to? Because, I mean, the plan is, I believe, to give them this aid and give them these visas. But, they're out there demanding more aid and more work permits, because they were promised that they would come here, right? And I think there was a video, was it in Colorado, actually? I just remembered this. Yeah. In Colorado, there was a local... I don't know if it was a senator, a state senator, or a mayor. Yeah, had a group of illegal immigrants and basically telling them, "Hey guys, we're out of resources. We have no more jobs for you guys. I reckon we'll send you guys in buses to Canada because we have nothing left." He offered to take them to the border in Canada and cross over into Canada to see if they can help them over there. Well, right? It's crazy. I think it was a Guatemalan guy, actually.
Really? Yeah. Well, out of the same state, right? We should have put that video up. Yeah, we should have. And out of the same state, man. I mean, like I said, like a year ago, you had, the mayor, right? One of the mayors coming out and saying, "Hey, we're going to remove some of these services from parks, right? And certain things because we need to feed the immigrants." You know what I mean? And so, again, these are the things, bro. I'm laughing, and the reason why I'm laughing at these policies is because I'm in one, bro. I am in California where things stink, bro. I am tired of all the poop. I'm tired of walking in feces, right? I'm tired of
go to San Francisco. Check that place out.
Right. I'm tired of not being able to do a walk, not being able to get confronted with people with mental health and mental health issues, right? Asking for money, right? It gets to the point where, man, it's demoralizing. I don't know about you guys, but it gets demoralizing, man. I mean, Disneyland right here, I mean, they're constantly cleaning, washing, they're constantly doing things, but nobody's doing anything about it, man. These people that are, and of course, Anaheim has a liberal, a Democrat running our city, right? And this is what they believe. And they strongly believe, like, hey, we should be cordial, right? I mean, what's the name? Gretchen Whitmer. Not too long ago, she was asking her constituents to allow people to bring in people into Michigan, right? Yep. Open up your doors so you can allow these people into.
Now she's asking for $8 million in funds.
Exactly, to pay
for that, right?
To pay for the lawyer fees.
And guess who's paying for it? Who has to pay for that, right?
Yeah,
taxpayers. And then you got the Department of Homeland Security. I read an article that they're monitoring 617,000 illegals with criminal records that have come into our country.
God.
Monitoring.
Yeah.
Really? How are you doing that?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah.
They spend more time monitoring American citizens.
Yeah, so this article says that there was 1,300 people gathered outside the city hall, with only 250 people being allowed inside for a 10 a.m. hearing, right? And then it says sources told the outlet that a large group was drawn to City Hall by an activist group. I'd like to know who that group is. Dozens said they had been told by others in the community that if they showed up, they could get work visas or green cards. So it's crazy how
somebody's running this. Yeah. Somebody's running this chaos.
That's right.
Somebody is organizing the chaos, and it's perfect. It's all purposely done.
Yeah.
Everything is. This is not. Nothing's happening by chance, guys.
Yeah, I mean,
we have to come to that realization.
Yeah. So let's just if you think this through logically. Sorry about that. If you think this through logically, there's resources being used for this. Somebody has to organize this, right? And organizing takes money. It takes structure. I want to know who this is, and I would like at some point for all of these things to be. Yeah, well, probably, but yeah.
NGOs.
Right. Yeah. I mean, let's get to the point. Soros, just we were just mentioning before we started that his NGO, Soros-backed NGO started distributing the flyers in Mexico, telling illegals to go and vote for Biden.
That's right.
So this is funny. Look at this.
So we know who's doing it. Well, I mean,
this article says illegal immigrants were also reportedly not satisfied with being moved to shelters from their luxury hotels that had been used to house them. So they're upset because they got kicked out of the luxury hotels that we were paying for. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
It's crazy, guys. So
while our homeless remain in the street, our veterans
are in the street.
Yep.
Insane.
Yep.
That's right. And it's wild, bro. I mean, you're hearing it. I mean, think about it. I mean, somebody just said, I mean, there's a large increment of violence that is just happening in every city, man. You're going above 30% of not only violence, criminal offenses, in California, for example. You remember, there's no, you can rob up to $950 and nobody will tell you anything, right? So
unless
now you got people.
Republican.
Yeah, exactly. So now you have people breaking windows, costing more than $48,000, right? I mean, $4,500 per window for something that's worth less than $150. I mean, I hear this all the time. Businesses are leaving California in droves, right? In 2020 to 2022, we have 850,000 people have left California for the same reason. You got major retailer stores leaving these big cities, right? Like San Francisco. Come on, In-N-Out from Oakland. Come on, this is the only In-N-Out in Oakland, California. And what happened? They had to close because they just said, man, it's too dangerous. It's too dangerous for us to even expose our own employees. You know what I mean? And it's happening in all blue cities. And we're just sitting back, bro, just looking at it like, really, like who does this? It's, who votes for these people?
Well, uninformed people that don't know any better. I mean,
facts.
You know what? It's just what's crazy is that I know a lot of very well-educated people that still, believe that the Democrat Party is the party that's for the people, and sometimes I just don't get it, man. You can present all this stuff that's happening, and look, I'm not gonna say that the Republican Party is great and this and that, but the Republican Party isn't the cause of all our problems today.
No.
Right? The Democrat Party is the cause of the problem. Republican Party may not be the solution to all these problems, but they're definitely not the cause of all the problems that are happening today.
Well, it depends on perspective, because that'll lead us into our little Fisa rant that I got going on. But depends on how you look at it, right, Alex? Because they're supposed to be the opposition party, and they're not. See, and so I know where you're coming from, because the policies are liberal policies that continuously get passed.
Yeah.
But I guess where you can say the Republican Party is responsible for is for not protecting us and representing conservatives, and protecting us against these liberal policies. What do? Well, we were just talking about it earlier. look what's going on with Speaker Mike Johnson with this FISA, court extension for the next 2 years, where we had an opportunity. So for those of you that don't know, the FISA court is a secret court, right? Mm-hmm. It's a secret court that we don't know who they are. We don't know who these people are. And the government can go, the FBI in this case, can go and get warrants, right, to unknown judges, secret judges, to spy on us, right? Mm-hmm. This is how Trump was spied on, right? This is how they spied on a lot of people. This is actually how they round up a lot of the January 6th, prisoner people from January 6th, right? Where they have people who are being imprisoned for false crimes. In my opinion, you might not agree, but I mean, that's just a fact. Yeah. But even if you believe they did it, how did they find these people? By using FISA court warrants, right? Yeah. And spying on them, looking at their text messages, finding out where they are,
listening in on conversations they shouldn't be listening to.
Right, exactly. And so here we have, an opportunity for conservatives who are supposed to be small government, right? Yeah. Who's supposed to be protecting our conservative values. I mean, I don't know of anybody, whether they're left or right, that actually supports having a FISA court, right? Remember, this was part of the Patriot Act. This is how this all went down. That's a unifying issue, right, between us and right and the left as citizens. But yet here we have Mike Johnson, where we had an opportunity to end the FISA court, and rather than doing that, what happens? Michael Johnson, who could have actually been was the deciding vote, decided not to vote, right? Therefore, it got extended.
And what was his reasoning? Has he said anything about it?
Well, he didn't vote, bro. So nobody just pass.
Nobody calls him out on this.
Yeah, no, and well, I mean, us.
Yeah,
And where I get frustrated is, what is it, a day or two afterwards, he's at Mar-a-Lago with Donald Trump.
That's right.
See, that's the thing, man. See, the Republican the Republican Party isn't the solution to our problems. They're not. Right. But they're definitely not the cause. Right? The problems that we have, the policies that we have, especially here in California, you can't blame Republicans for any of it. Everything that's happening in California is
true.
Democrat,
100%. Here in California, you're
policy,
correct. Yes.
And then you can just kind of look around the United States and into these cities where they're blue cities and see what's going on with crime and with immigration and everything that's happening, and see that they're not Republican-run cities that are having these issues. So they're not the cause of the problems.
Yeah,
but they're not the solution either, apparently.
And I agree. I think to the extent I do agree with you, but to the extent, come on, Mount. These are the Democrat. I mean, the Republican Party are actually in control of Congress. They were the ones
supposed to be.
Exactly. They're the ones who can stop the funding for all this nonsense for Ukraine, for Taiwan, for I'm okay with Israel, because at the end of the day, we already know what happened. That attack on Israel should be condemned. It shouldn't have never happened, right? But then you have these people, and these people that are full of hatred, that are ramming, hate towards Israel. And now we're starting to see that, that now they're here. You know what I mean? We have Palestinians here saying death to America. Like now they're cruising by like nothing, part of the BLM. I'm thinking that I'm thinking it's just that BLM crowd. Right?
Antifa, they just switch Antifa, BLM. They switched their flags. I mean, they're all still wearing masks.
Exactly. But we had an opportunity for our Congress, that we have control. Granted, we don't have the White House. We don't have the Senate. But at least now, man, we do have, the Congress where we can buckle down everything. But we have this guy, like Isaac mentioned, that it's just like, it's an arm to the Democrat Party, man, allowing everything. You know what I mean? Like, we had an opportunity to stop the funding, a while back. But what did he do? He ended up, pretty much shoving through that extension, right, to that bill that the Democrat, the Schumer, actually pretty much wrote, and he just rammed it through and passed it through right before they went on vacation.
Yeah.
And now we have this. Now we're having this, the border completely open. They have an opportunity. They'd had an opportunity to negotiate on the border. And what do? They ended up not putting in the border. Why is nobody looking at this, man? You want this, Democrats? Add what we need. But we have, honestly, man, I kind of agree, but I disagree. I feel that a Republican Party has no backbone, and they're out of caffeine, and that's why the American people are suffering right now.
Yeah.
Point blank.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so what do we do?
That's
so
a good question.
What do we do? Well, we definitely, if the Republican Party, like I said, is not the cause of the problem, then we need to hit the root cause, right? We need to stop, or at least put some handcuffs on some of these crazy policies that are happening. Look, we don't. It's just. The way the system is in place, it's supposed to be for checks and balances, and it doesn't seem like there's been any checks and balances.
Right.
And that's the unfortunate part. And we just look what's happening with these wars, man. People don't realize how close we are to like World War III, man.
Yep.
We're close.
This is insane. People don't realize it, and of course, the media. They're just. They're just. Oh man, I don't even know what to. I don't even know. They're just an arm for the Democrat Party. So whatever they're trying to push, they'll push it. It's pretty scary where we're at right now in this world, man.
It is, man. But you know what? We were laughing about it, and the reason why we were laughing about it is because not too long ago, man, a couple of months ago, right? You guys know that Joe Biden, gave out a certain amount of money to Iran, right? So he gave out money, right? Remember, it was like 2, 3, 4
he funded these missiles that were sent.
Exactly. So now they
didn't have any money.
They did not have any money, and now mysteriously we have state of the art. Iran having state of the art drones, right? And more than 600 missiles. You know what I mean? Like,
and
really?
I heard how much those things were each. Did you guys hear that?
No. How much was it?
I'll look it up. It was some insane number.
But can you imagine? I mean, the thing that I'm afraid of, man, is we have a president, man, that's double faced, man, that is over here trying to protect Israel, right? Trying to do his thing for Israel, and at the same time, he's funding, these people to attack Israel. I mean, it just, to me, it does not make sense. I mean, a couple weeks ago, we heard in the news that he's thinking about building a bridge for Palestine. Come on now, like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, what? I'm just thinking what goes into his mind, and maybe nothing, but I'm just saying, like, what is he doing getting involved with the affairs when we have such a huge problem with our own border, man? And he's looking out for other people's border here.
Yeah, it's crazy because these things that we're talking about, when we look at what our government is doing right now, like we just talked about, like the FISA court, right, where they extended, so they're supposed to be protecting the people and our freedoms, right? So I was trying to find the article again, but I had wrote a note that last year the FBI abused the FISA court system 278,000 times.
Golly.
Right? 278,000 times, guys.
Abused.
So
they abused, or they used it.
Well, no, they unjustifiably used it. I guess after reviewing, 278,000.
Oh, they shouldn't have approved.
They shouldn't have. Yeah. Okay. Right, and so some of the amendments, and some of the amendments that they had made all had to do with protecting the media and the politicians, like basically saying that they can't use news articles, and I think it was any kind of political, any statements made by a politician cannot be used to get a FISA court warrant, right? Mm-hmm. So they protected themselves, right? But yet we, the citizens, are still exposed to the abuse of the federal government, right? Which we know abuses their power. So, I'm just kind of laying out the like a high level view of, but then they have an opportunity to protect our freedom. But yet when now we look at funding for foreign wars, right? Funding for Israel, funding for Ukraine, right? Funding for Taiwan, right? That's what they're prioritizing right now. Like, they really want to make that happen. I mean, how many times do we have to say no? We do not want to fund Ukraine anymore, right? Mm-hmm. They keep trying to pass it. They put it in bills. It gets knocked down. Now, apparently Mike Johnson, he comes up with this plan where he's like, hey, we're going to vote have Congress vote for, funding for Ukraine individually, funding for Israel individually, funding for Taiwan individually, right? Like an up and down vote for each one. Right. And then once we pass those, we'll just package them and put it on one bill and send it to the Senate for them to vote on it as on one bill, right? It's like, what's crazy is
freaking circus, man.
Oh, and also include the banning of the forced sale of TikTok in this, right? So, the article that we were reading earlier is talking about how, he's on a call with Joe Biden and they're trying to strategize, And when you read this stuff, it's like, what are they strategizing about, right? When they talk about how do we get this bill passed? To me, you're basically saying, how do we go against the will of the people? Because we've already said no, right? And so they're just trying to find creative ways to do it.
Yeah.
By holding other things hostage. Like, let's say if you're now a senator and you actually care about forcing the sale of TikTok and you're concerned, well, if you don't, there's your opportunity. But guess what? If you vote for this, you're also going to fund all these other, wars that that you might not be supporting.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about
they handcuff you to do things that you wouldn't normally do just so you can get your own thing passed. But then Then it goes to question. Well, where's your stance? Like, where's your moral high ground? Where do you say, okay, enough is enough, right? If they say, oh, what's another $100 million or $1 billion? At that point, they don't give a shit if I can just get this thing passed, right? And that's the problem with politicians.
Yeah, guys, look at your paychecks. We're paying taxes, right? So you look at how much they take from your taxes, right? Every time here in California, anyways, we have a sales tax. So every time we go out and buy something, we're getting taxed. Every time we get paid, we're getting taxed, right? Every time you go pay your car registration, which is crazy, right? You're getting taxed.
Yeah.
That's all a tax. And all that money is going to foreign wars, going to help illegal immigrants here in California. I mean, like we just talked about, you have thousands of immigrants lining up, demanding jobs and more help. I mean, we're like slaves, man. We're like the American people are basically like like a host. Like Alex is over here freaking out because we have some mosquitoes going on. Well, we're full of mosquitoes, guys. The mosquitoes are constantly coming and just sucking our blood all day long. That's where we're at.
Yeah, politicians are mosquitoes, man.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that for some reason, we're not like the crazy French. What was it? The French out there with their tractors because they're trying to tax those guys and like they ain't having it, so they're driving around. Like Americans, we never do stuff like that,
And I think we should, bro. I mean, at the end of the day, bro, think about it. If I am paying more than 33% on my wages, right, on taxes, on this and that to fund something, come on now, like where's my, where's my buddy here, man? I mean, I'm thinking about it like come on. Am I just working just to provide, like I said, right now, I'm in California. We pay for abortions, regardless if you don't want it or not. Each and one of us funds that, So I'm always reaching out. What should I do? Squat, sit down, don't do nothing, don't pay my bill, just because I don't want to fund. I can't do it. I feel powerless, bro.
Yeah, we're the suckers. We're like the Matrix, right? In the Matrix, where the humans are in the pods, right? And they're just like sucking. Well, what is it? We're energized. We're providing energy, right? That's the American people. Right. That's what we are. We're the Matrix. We are the people in the Matrix in these little pods. And we're being used to power the rest of the world, right?
Right.
That's literally what it is, And that leads us to that article you were telling us, Alfred, where we have flyers being sent out in Mexico, right? And where was that at?
In Matamoros.
In Matamoros, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a flyer going out. They're sending out flyers in Matamoros, asking the Mexican people to vote for Joe Biden.
That's right.
How in the heck is that happening now? I mean, I guess there's American citizens there. Probably.
I'm guessing.
I don't know. Like, why is that happening?
They're distributing it to people that they're gonna cross the border. I mean, that happens prior to them coming across the border.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
All these people, and this isn't the first time. This is probably the first time it's actually been referenced or somebody actually speaking about it. But these caravans are not just they're not just people walking and then all of a sudden there's another group of people that joins them. This is an organized plan, and during these caravans, all these flyers are being distributed. They have a plan. That's why now the news is starting to talk about and have issue with having to show ID, having to show. There was I don't know. I saw some clip of one of the news. I don't know who it was. One of these crazy ladies that are always yapping, having issue with having to show ID. She starts talking about what now? Are you going to have to show your papers? ID has nothing to do with papers.
Yeah,
nothing to do with papers. Show your ID. We have to show ID to get on a plane.
That's right.
Well,
we have to show ID to buy a car. We have to show ID to buy cigarettes. We have to show ID to buy alcohol.
When you're when you're not, I don't anymore.
Right.
But sometimes sometimes they ask me.
I was telling you guys that I went to vote. They didn't even ask me for my ID, bro. I was like, what the heck? I'm like,
you have to show ID to pick up tickets that you buy.
That's true.
For events. I mean, come on.
That's right. And this is all happening in the gays, man. One of the things that I was discussing with the gentleman too is that, now I'm starting to see. I mean, I heard it in another podcast. I heard about this that, Joe Biden went ahead and activated an executive order to have federal agencies, right? You're talking about all these agencies that now are going to work in correlation with each other to go and activate the vote. You know what I mean? Like activate people to vote and going out there and just promoting to vote, right? And we're starting to see all these, attorney generals coming back and saying, no, wait a minute. We saw you guys doing this a couple of years, trying to do this, through this executive order to weaponize, the federal governments to vote. But think about it now. How well can you trust, federal governments to do anything, especially when it comes down to vote?
Not who we have now.
Yeah, really, Alfred, what the way to describe this is that, because remember, this is an executive order, so that's Sleepy Joe basically saying, hey, federal agencies, you are now part of my presidential campaign, right? And you are to use your resources, the federal funds, to go out and campaign for me.
Yeah.
That's what this is. Right. And it's crazy. I mean, imagine if Trump would have done this. Like crazy, right? They're already trying to put him in jail for nothing, right?
Yeah.
For sure he'd be locked up for doing something like this. And it's crazy that these guys get away with it because there is no opposition. Like there's nobody to stand up against this, and on my way over here, I was listening to another podcast myself. But right now we're talking, in New York, right? Where the judge over there, what's her name? Bragg, or I think her name is.
Is it Alvin Bragg? Or are you talking Tisha James? There's so many.
No, Alvin Bragg.
Alvin Bragg, yeah.
Yeah, the court in New York where he basically told them that he can't go to the Supreme Court case, right? Where they're going to decide whether a president has immunity, right? Right. So if he goes in, then he's going to be held in contempt, and he threatened to put him in jail for 30 days, I believe. Right. And my issue is, I think Trump needs to just ignore that. Just call them out. Call their bluff and go to the Supreme Court and basically write a letter to the New York court and just let them know, sorry guys, I no disrespect, but this is an important case, right? It's a landmark case. Mm-hmm. He
doesn't want him to go because he's in trial now with he can't leave basically.
Yeah, if you leave, if you don't show up to the court here in New York, right, for your trial, then we're going to hold you in contempt, right? And he did it for, I guess, his son's birthday. I'm not birthday, but his graduation. Right. So he's not allowed to go. I think technically he didn't say he can't go. He said we'll see.
They won't let me.
No, I think the judge said we will see. He didn't say you can't go. I think he said we'll see how the case is going. And I think Trump is kind of going out there now and just saying, hey, they're not letting me go, which technically is not true. But realistically, they're probably not going to let him go. But they're not letting him go to that Supreme Court case that he has going. Right. I think Trump should go right, and defy this judge and force him to see it,
to throw him in jail.
Yeah,
like
see
he
if
says
you're really
he will.
going to do it, because Trump. There is no crime. I believe that what they're accusing him of is a misdemeanor that has to do with the whole Stormy Daniels case, right? The one in New York,
right?
Where
They call it a hush money case. It has nothing to do with hush money,
right? Which
it has to do with campaign spending,
right? And they're trying to make this a felony, a felony issue, which they haven't even cited what law did he break that is actually a felony, right? So why does Trump pretend like this is a legitimate case? Like,
he has no choice.
I don't think he has a choice,
I think
bro.
he has a choice.
So none of us have a freaking choice when we get.
Well, he has a choice. Force him to call him out. First of all, he's in Florida, so they would have to actually try to get DeSantis to extradite him out of Florida and bring him to New York to be put in jail.
But then that'll be like, this is what they want. You know what I mean? Like, they want to be able to label him as a convicted felon. Think about it now. The American people now have an opportunity to vote for Donald Trump as a convicted felon. Can you imagine that, bro? This has been going on for the last 6-7 years, bro. Like, these people are still hurt about, them stealing Donald Trump stealing the election. I mean, taking the election, right? Because he was smart. He played the system. He used big networks to get what he's at. And the problem with that, man, is that this is what they want. You know what I mean? They want to be able to bring him out of there in a jumpsuit and say, you broke the law now. Look, see, everyone, he broke the law. Even if even if.
Which law did he break?
Well, not going to it. Not showing up for the court, for the court proceedings.
That's the thing. They won't say which law. They'll say he broke the law, but nobody ever asked that question, right?
You go and you say, look, until you cite what law I'm breaking, what the felony is, this is a sham, fake trial. I'm not going to participate in it. What if you give me a legitimate crime, a legitimate felony that I've committed, then I will go ahead and show up to this case. But they haven't done that. And what'll happen? What's the worst to happen, really? They come in, they get him, and they put him in jail? Okay. That's only going to help him.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what the mugshot did for him. Right? I mean, it's awesome. Right? It got t-shirts. So imagine now he gets put in jail. And one of the things I had listened to Don Mangino talk about months ago, where he, because he used to be in the Secret Service, and he said that, he was saying the same thing, that he should force them because I guess apparently the Secret Service has jurisdiction over any location that the president is at, right? So they would actually force the jail, like even the oh God, what do you call the head guy at jail?
Is it the jail? No, the director of
no.
bailiff,
warrant. What is it called? I don't know.
Oh gosh, we do this every podcast, guys.
the warrant.
The warrant.
Is it the warrant? The warrant. Yeah, the jail warrant.
No, the warrant. The warden.
Warden.
Yes.
Warden.
I was trying to do a quick search on Google.
So because I guess the warden would actually have to submit to the authority of the Secret Service.
Wow.
So he would actually lose control over his own prison because the Secret Service would then take over, right? Because they're at the federal level, so they have higher jurisdiction than he does, and they would still be responsible for keeping the president safe. So they can actually force them to take all the prisoners out of there. Let's just say it's, there's a whole floor. He was talking about how they can actually make it just super inconvenient for these guys. They cause a whole lot of headaches for the warden, and all the staff there, And so what would happen? Trump would be hanging out in the jail all to himself, probably still getting, all the food and perks that he'd want. He'd just have the Secret Service go get him.
Or the jail would be like, don't even bring him here. We're gonna release. We're gonna release him.
It would be awesome.
Yeah,
it would be awesome. So what are they gonna do with all these prisoners? So when he was talking about, it, I was like, man, if this is true, which I'm sure it is, because he was a Secret Service, that's the way to go.
Right.
Well,
I think at this gesture, man, everything is possible. I mean, I think about it, man. You're looking at every single. I mean, come on now. You got the Atlanta case that is just coming into Shams, right? I mean, you got these guys, lovers, doing things that, I mean, come on now. Now you got Tisha James trying to, get them for $356 million, which, court said, nah, that's not possible. Let's do half, right? And now they have this guy, right? This guy, what's his name? Merchant, whatever his name is, the judge, having a bias. He's been known to donate to the Democrat Party, and he's caught on it on the paperwork, and he's being biased. And now he's, doing all these things because he does post on, again, the mean tweets. People hate it with the mean tweets. But,
Yeah.
but this is what he does.
Do we even have any of those mean tweets? What did he say, dude? I don't even know.
I don't know. I wasn't on Twitter back in the day.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
I'm still not.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure they're still
We hear
there.
about these mean tweets all the time, but what actually did he, what did he say?
Well, I think that for the most part, I think he was,
He was just blunt.
He was just being blunt. He was
Yeah.
just speaking his mind, telling people. And you got to understand, back then, Twitter, you had all the major business owners, people that really, intellectuals, people that wanted to have chats, conversations. It was a cesspool of liberal thinking. You know what I mean? For many, now we know what happened, right? Elon Musk just comes out and just lays out the paperwork and says, look at what they were doing, right? And nobody wants to hear about it. But in a sense, he was just telling people straight out how it was. This is what they were saying. He was saying like, hey, this is what they're doing. Look, they're attacking. This is what's happening. He was using Twitter as a megaphone to reach out to a lot more people. That's why they, I'm saying the government agencies took on Twitter, and now they even had their own departments in there filtering. You know what I mean? Closing out accounts, attacking conservatives for being outspoken.
Yeah.
And I mean, we see it through Elon Musk and all these people that are coming out and say, look, this is what they did. You know what I mean? So these are the mean tweets. He was just speaking in mind. And again, Donald Trump is not a politician, you guys. He's not a politician. He's going to speak his mind. He's going to tell you how it is. I don't like the guy, when he says things like that. But at the end of the day, bro, I don't care how people is. I just want people to get the job done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We need somebody to get the job done. Right now we have a president that won for 81 million votes. Can you guys imagine? 81 million, more than Obama, bro. And, he can't even control our border.
Well, he can't even
3 wars?
stay awake. But
True.
yeah. The one thing, Alfred, I think we do have to stop saying that Donald Trump is not a politician, because he is one now.
I'm sure.
And I don't.
sure.
When I say that, I'm not saying that he's part of the insiders, but he technically now he's a politician. That's
Of course.
that's what he does now, right? I think now after 4 years
Sure.
of being a president and 4 years of essentially campaigning for a second election, I mean he is technically a politician now. I'm not saying he's part of the swamp or that he's
Facts.
part of the establishment, but he does bother me. Again, I go back to the whole Mike Johnson thing. Why is he not condemning him? Why isn't he not speaking against him? Although after the vote with the whole Fisa extension that we were talking about earlier, I guess Trump did put out a what do they call it? I don't know if it's a tweet or whatever. A post. He posted
A
to
post. Truth
yeah,
post.
just telling them to shut down the Fisa court, that it was used against him, right? But that's as far as it goes. But that's interesting. That's, you can make the argument that the only reason he's actually even did that is because it's affecting him directly, right? Because he's not out there doing the same thing with, I was reading here, it's $100 billion in foreign aid that's trying to be sent out. Why isn't Trump, or putting a post about that?
That's true.
Why is he not, and I'm for Israel. Don't get me wrong. And we talked about this last time, Alfred. I just think that I think we're getting taken advantage of. It really bothers me that, think about it this way. It's $100 billion, right? And every month, every time they try passing this, they tell us, for example, let's take Ukraine, that, it's crucial. We need to pass this money because they're losing the war and more of them are dying. Well, it's been about 6 months and they're still out there fighting.
Where does this money even go? How is this money even spent?
Well, that's the problem.
Is there
right?
some sort of some sort of audit that can be done to see what happens with some of this money? I mean, where does it go?
Well, I mean,
What do they do with it? It's a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
Excuse my language. What happens with it?
It goes places. Look at again, right? We were talking about this before. It goes places.
It goes in their pockets. It's a money laundering scheme. Is what it is.
It is, and I think it's obvious because when you look at, we were talking about this before, when I was talking about Israel on, what was it, October 6th?
That's right.
Right? They get
Yeah.
attacked October 7th or by the 8th. We're already trying to figure out how to send them money, right? So we still haven't sent them any money, and they're doing just fine, right?
That's right.
So doesn't that kind of tell you, why are we pushing so hard to send them aid when it's been about 6 months now and they've been able to successfully take care of themselves? Just recently, what was it? How many missiles they shoot? Like 300 missiles or
600.
something? Or was it 600?
Yeah, 300 landed it within the proximities. Those are the duds. You got.
Right.
Can you imagine, bro? Can you imagine being part of a military and you launch out 600 missiles and half of it, 50%, just end up duds? Dude, what a waste.
Oh, was it 50? But what were they successfully
What
stopped 99% of them,
So-
which I don't know what the number that actually was, but it's got it's pretty impressive.
What
man.
missiles are those? Those are the ones that Iran's missiles.
Iran,
towards-
yeah. Well, that's one of the things that they were saying. They're saying, hey, listen, there were about 600 missiles. 300 were actually, reached. Meaning like they were in pursuit to hit Israel, but they had. These the dome, the Iron Dome, and all these other advances. The U.S. actually helped out with Jordan. So Jordan got involved. I mean,
Jordan
for
got
once,
involved. Yeah.
Saudi Arabia also
Saudi
got
Arabia
involved.
got involved.
So there's a good group of states that are
Allies.
saying allies that are saying enough is enough, man. I mean, come on now. It gets to the point where that's enough.
Yeah.
Enough. I mean, for them to really step in, that really actually, it shocked me. Because,
Yeah, again, they're doing just fine. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
They're doing just fine. Why are we trying to send them money right now? I want to see bank accounts. Show me your bank account, Israel. Show me your bank account. Well, Ukraine, we don't need to be sending them money for anything. We have absolutely no interest there. And there are people that would say that we don't have no interest in Israel. I actually have a friend of mine that's been texting me about that. But I disagree. I go back to, I don't mind supporting Israel. Let's just not get in their way. But I don't want to be sending money to anybody because I just think that we get taken advantage of. That's just the bottom line.
I mean, come on now. We're seeing this at home. I mean, come on, guys. Are we really? I mean, think about it. Are we using common sense? Are we jumping into this, mass hysteria, of communication overload, of all these people? Look at it, man. We're printing money that we don't have.
We're borrowing money.
We're borrowing money
Yeah.
for every 100 days is like $1 trillion in interest. So
Yeah.
are we already like my children are going to be paying for this nonsense? Come on now.
They are going to be, your grandchildren are going to be paying for this.
Exactly. And
Your
are we okay?
grandchildren are going to be paying for this.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what we're leaning, and that's one of the things that come on, it disgusts me that we're continuing to have these discussions. I mean, I heard one of the senators say, "Hey, listen, by the time we send them the money, okay, fine, we'll send them the money, but who's gonna go and fight? Ukraine has lost all his people, all his young people,
Right.
To the point to where they can no longer fight. So who's
Yeah.
gonna fight?
Yeah.
Are we now these AI drones now, or what? What are we gonna do?"
Yeah, they don't need the money. They need people, and we ain't sending our people.
Well, that's what they want.
Right.
That's what they want. They want to be able to fully engage because I'm telling you, this is what they want. They know that, I mean, right now we're seeing it. We're seeing that war brings in money, right? Look, $90 billion right now. Look, we're already going to start paying for Taiwan, and there's nothing going on in Taiwan. Come on now.
Well, yeah, true, but Taiwan actually is important to us because we make all our chips there, right?
Yeah, but there's nothing going on. I mean, in a sense,
I
there's
understand.
no
but if there was out of the three, Ukraine, Taiwan, and
Sure.
Israel, if there is somebody that we really need to make sure we're taking care of, it is Taiwan.
well,
Because Taiwan, we get our chips there. We get a lot of manufacturing from them, but we rely on them on microchips.
yeah, okay.
So that's everything, brother. That's this podcast would not happen. You know what I mean? That's
the
your
chips.
phone. That's industry. We can't.
I don't think we
afford it.
should. We shouldn't be involved in anybody's business but our own. I mean, if we can't track where this money goes, then there shouldn't be any money sent unless they can show us what. And I don't understand why aren't there politicians out there asking where's this money going? How is it spent? How was the money spent that we sent before?
Yeah, there's
Right?
no way. I mean, there's just too many people involved and opportunity for corruption.
We can't even do it in California. California
Right.
doesn't even know where their money's spent.
That's true.
You know, they spent $24 billion on homelessness in California in the last 5 years, and our commander in chief
Yep.
Newsom has no idea where this money, and now he's asking for more.
Let's look at it. I mean, that's exactly what's going on in the education system. Look, I mean, think about it. We've 30 million dollars, lost like nothing. Like nothing. Nobody knows what happened to the education money, the funds. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
right.
There's no accountability, and that's the problem, man.
There's no accountability because it's other people's money.
Exactly,
right?
but that's
the more, see, when it's your own money, you're pretty good at keeping track of what you spend, right?
Right.
And then you take it a layer, from that. Now you have a company card, right? Now you're spending a little bit more freely because it's a company card, but there's still somebody monitoring that, right?
That's true.
Imagine now that you're getting a card and there's no money, there's nobody monitoring that. You're going to spend like a madman.
Right.
Right.
true.
So they're spending other people's money, which is why they just they're okay with, hey, let's spend another $1 billion. Let's give another 24 billion in homelessness. And it sounds spectacular that we're spending money for these good causes. But the fact of the matter is none of this money is going to any of these causes that they're talking about. We're funding a war. No, we're not funding a war. We're funding a money laundering organization that's going to put these. and if there's no audit, then you cannot tell me that it's not the truth. Until you can tell me where this money's going, it's money laundering.
And see, that's the problem, though. I mean, come on now. We just saw. I mean, come on. We're seeing the videos. We saw Sleepy Joe over there not too long ago, right? In 2014, right, when he's having these discussions in front of camera, saying that if so and so doesn't get fired, you don't get your money. Come on now.
Yeah.
This guy he's in it. He's been in it. He's using this as a money pit, and I'm just disgusted, bro, that our own government, bro, and everybody and the senators and everybody knows that this guy is corrupted, but nobody wants to do anything about it, bro. Yeah. There's no impeachments. There's nothing going on. Everything's fine, so and dandy, and that's why I said the
everything that
uniparty.
they said Trump was the last in his entire presidency. Everything that they said Trump was, this guy is.
100%. 100%. And
it's insane. All the way from being a freaking racist, right? You can go back his history and what he's said, and there's just been so much that he's had said in the past that could be deemed racist, right? To just the crooked deals that he makes behind, with the Ukraine and everything that they said that Trump was, this guy is, man. And it's insane, and it's unfortunate because nobody sees it, and nobody sees it because the media doesn't show it. So the average American has no clue. Unless you're doing your own research, you wouldn't have any idea any of this is happening.
100%. I agree. I think we agree.
And
with
that's
this.
the thing. And people just don't know, man.
So you hit it right in the nail. You said something very important, man. The sad part is that people don't know about it, but that's what we're here, man. We're just trying to bring in, an itchy ear. You know what I mean? So you can really just understand that this is happening in your own backyard. You know what I mean? This is happening in your own city council. This is happening with all these, think about it. I hear this all the time where you have our own city councils that are trying to implement certain things, certain laws, Measure A, remember? And these things that are attacking their own, the own businesses of local. I mean, this is just disgusting. It's happening everywhere. But yet again, we're just citizens here. We see it, we see the problem, and we're kind of like numb, bro. It feels like we're numb.
Yeah, and then again, until it actually hits home, then you don't see it, you don't experience it. Everybody wanted this $20 an hour. Well, I'm sure a lot of these fast food workers were happy about this new $20 an hour wage until they got fired.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah,
oh,
true.
Whoops! Wait a minute. This is not what I expected.
Yeah, and it's crazy because what happens with that is that trickle effect that takes, right? Because now you have the fast food workers making $20 an hour, right? Mm-hmm. Now the workers that work at non-fast food locations, necessarily you have to give a increase to, right? Because now you have to compete with that $20 an hour. So if you were working at, let's say, Olive Garden or, a sit down restaurant and you were making under $20 an hour, why not just go work at McDonald's now?
Yeah.
Right. If they even have a job for you, but
right. That's the thing.
But now you have to bump up pay.
Yeah.
I mean, I just had to do that, for my employees is bump up pay because
they can just go work fast food and make more money.
Yeah. They were kind of close there. So I had to bump everybody's pay. So that's higher cost for everybody. So when you go now eat or really anything, stop, that directly so if you went out to eat with your family to a sit down restaurant and spent $100 for 2 people, that's why.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's normal. Yeah. At this point.
Yeah. That's why when you go to McDonald's now and spend $60 for, 2 people to eat burgers and fries, I don't even think I'm exaggerating on that. Right.
No, it's not.
Two meals, now you know why. And so it's all great, guys. It's $20 an hour, but it's crazy that people, again, if we go back to, people the problem is that we mentioned this before on one of the podcasts. People spend more time concerned with sports, things that don't affect their life. If they put the same kind of energy, right? You take guys that know every basketball player, know everything that's going on in the NBA or Major League Baseball or football. If they put that same energy into politics, we wouldn't be in this situation.
Facts.
Right? I look at, I love my wife, but she knows, her and her sisters know everything about Katy Perry and every star out there and who they date and who their uncle is. And like, man, if you put that kind of energy, right, into political issues, we wouldn't be in this problem because you would understand why everything's so expensive.
That's true.
You would know exactly the policies that passed that led to this, right? So, that's the problem that we have, and we need people. We can no longer afford it, guys. We can no longer afford to.
But I mean, what can you do, right? Other than just have these conversations and hope that people are going to listen to them and your immediate circle and talk about certain things with your immediate circle, and hopefully that they'll pick up and it'll just.
Yeah, this is why you guys need to share these podcasts. We need to grow our audience. I was just reading this headline. Fed Chair Powell says there has been a lack of further progress. There has been lack of further progress this year on inflation, right? Mm-hmm. So they're talking about how they're not going to lower interest rate. They're going to continue to stay or go high. This goes back to the conversation we were just talking about with all of this spending that the government is doing. This is why, guys. $100 billion in foreign aid packages, monies that we're sending out to other countries, all the money that we're being spent on illegal immigrants, all that money is the reason why. The bailout plans that we had back during 2008, right? When we had that crisis, we had the people getting their stimulus packages, right? All those stimulus packages. This is now the result of all that spending, stimulus packages that we're giving out. All the money that we're sending out in foreign aid and spending, and all the high spending. This is what causes inflation, right? Too much money being put into the system, and this is what we're dealing with. So if you're out there complaining because you can't afford a house right now because interest rates are too high, or you're going to buy a car, right, and now your payment's much higher because your interest rate is higher. It's I think it's 5.5 or something crazy like that. Well, it's actually not crazy historically. That's actually still low. We just got used to 0% interest rates, right?
Right.
But this is why we're at, guys. If you knew what was going on, you would understand the harm. You would be calling your congressman and your senator and telling them, man, don't vote for this bill that's going to spend more money. Right? Let's get rid of these illegal immigrants and send them back home because we can't afford it.
Yeah.
That's right.
And like we just talked about, you got thousands of them in New York right now complaining, that they need jobs and they need more help. They're already upset because we're no longer paying for luxury apartments. That's where we're at, right? We're the Matrix, guys. We're getting completely taken advantage of, and we take it. And people just go, we live our lives. We go to work, we watch the football games and the baseball games, and it's just a distraction, guys. It's the carrot so that people aren't actually paying attention to what's going on. And you would think that something unprecedented like what just happened with Iran, in our lifetime, when have you ever heard of something like that? 600 missiles being launched at another country, and it's like it didn't even happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Talking about now, they shouldn't respond. They shouldn't do anything, and just leave it alone.
Isn't that crazy, right?
Well, yeah, but the problem with that, bro. But see, that's the thing, though. When you have, Israel. I mean, come on now. When you have news. When you have a media like the Western media, bro, propagating all this nonsense, boiling up, putting all this stuff, and this is what they eat, right? What's going to happen? What are we going to do next? What are we going to do next? Come on now. If you leave Israel alone, Israel will take care of its own. They've taken care of themselves since the 1946 war, 1972, right? You can name it. All, they can take care of their own. You know what I mean? But when you have people like freaking the Western world, the U.S., now we have to ask the U.S. for everything that we do. Come on now. When you have these people, the bullies, right? We need the West to back us up. That's when things go wrong, because the West itself, dude, the West is not on the right mind right now. Yeah. The West is just like,
we're worried about, gender equality.
Exactly. We're worrying about these. Exactly.
And banning guns and assault weapons, and worried about DEI.
Yeah, our government's too busy protecting the right for them to spy on us.
Yeah,
exactly.
That kind of
Fisa.
thing.
Exactly. Yeah. We have kids, removing parts of their of their forearm to create.
Our
penises.
kids are being educated. Yeah. We have homeless people on the street. We have our porous border. We're not even being protected. I mean, we are in big trouble, guys. And look at, we're possibly World War III. Yeah, right. We have all this conflict going on outside of our country, but yet we're not even protecting our border, right? I mean, these guys can activate. I mean, they have thousands and thousands of people here that are probably a military force. They can activate in any moment. I mean, you can think that's ridiculous, but wouldn't you have thought that letting just people walk in through our border was ridiculous? I mean, had somebody told you that 5 years ago, let's say, that we would be in this situation, you probably would think they're crazy, but this is our reality now.
Yeah, so you can't take a freaking bottled water on an airplane, though, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you still
can't. You got to go through TSA.
Why do we still have to go through TSA, bro? What's the point?
Exactly.
What I
can't take my water bottle. Sorry, right. I got to drink this before I go.
So think about that next time you're flying somewhere and you're being forced to take your shoes off. Well, they don't do that anymore, right?
Yeah, they
do. Take your shoes off, take your belt off, go through a metal detector. All that nonsense, guys. It's a sham.
As an American citizen, to fly from one place to another, you got to do all this stuff. But when you walk through a border as a whatever.
They'll bus you. They'll put you on a plane. They'll pay for the ticket.
Yeah, you're on a hotel.
You get a debit card.
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. This is just insane.
Right.
People wake up, man. I was gonna say something else, but I stopped myself.
But this is
wake up.
This is exactly, bro. This is exactly what's going on, bro. See, we do, I'm telling you, we're sitting here just talking about these things. But when did we always, bro? When did the floodgates of just the propaganda just unleashed on the American people, bro? Just to see this is what's going on. This is what's going on. This is happening. This is happening.
I'm sorry to tell you, but it's always been there. Our eyes are just open now.
Yeah, I mean, they're just bolder now. Is what it is. They don't care anymore. They don't want to hide it. They don't even hide it anymore. That's the difference. Like I said, it's always been there. They were just discreet about it, right? But true. Now they're just bold. They don't care. They don't care, guys. We have a president that, even if you were to find a supporter of Biden, the only reason they would support him would be because they don't want Trump to be president. It's not because they think he's the best person for the job. I'm pretty confident about that.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's obvious. Come on.
Yeah. So it's
the
insane.
fact that they can't find anybody better makes that party look even more ridiculous.
Right.
That's true.
The fact that that's all they have makes them look like it's insane,
it's
man. Insane.
It's wild.
It is insane.
I never thought, I've never thought, man, we're gonna leave. We're gonna be part of this twilight zone, as Isaac mentioned it, man. I mean, I've never thought we were gonna be in two, 3 wars right now. I never thought we were gonna be in inflations. I mean, just a week ago, I just saw an ex, Joe Biden speaking on one of his initial conversations to people said, if you guys vote for Trump, this guy's going to pretty much put us in war, and look at where we're at.
Guys, yeah, oh, man, that's what we should have played, Alfred. That's what I was thinking about was they started playing those videos of back when Trump was running the first time. Right? Or actually it was the second time or even the first time, right? Oh, if you vote for this guy, he's going to get us in World War III, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now they're all of those lies they told people, right? They did not come true. Even at the end when he, lost the election and they said that he wouldn't leave, right? And that he was going to refuse to leave, and he did leave. They were wrong again. The same people that told you that he was going to, refuse to leave, the same people that told you that he was going to get us into World War III are the same people telling you now that if he gets reelected, that it's the end of our democracy, right? It's crazy. So people still believe these people. They're like an abused woman that gets lied to by their abusive husband, right?
And that's what I was saying about some of these friends of mine that are intellectual. I mean, they're very smart. They're very they can talk. They have a lot of knowledge.
Yeah.
Yet they just. They're stuck. It's almost like it's like a form of hypnosis.
Well, that's what I tell you. I'm telling you, it's like we're kind of being so much into a propaganda. I mean, there's just so much the mass psychosis that it's just happening with every single one. I mean, think about it. I'm talking personally here, Mir, and I need to take a break, bro. I need to stop watching all these things. I'm constantly looking, but I'm just kind of saying like, okay, the hope of okay, it's gonna change. It's gonna change. When you're there, you're like, dude, is this for real happening to this country? The decaying of this country, the homeless, Spain. I mean, Echo Park. You can't even go to Echo Park anymore. You can't. I mean, think about it. You can't. I mean, you drive through the freeway, the 5 freeway right here. I mean, you got encampments every single day. They removed it. They're constantly there. I mean, think about it, bro. It's like we live in a Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
This is not. I pinch myself sometimes. Is this really happening?
Yeah. So let's think about. It's crazy because progressives. They think they.
Sure.
Talk about progress, right? So do you really think that it's progressive that we've gone from having, generals like General Patton, right?
Yeah.
So now we have guys that think they're women, leading our military. Like, is that progress? I would say no, right? It's World War III. Guys, we could be heading to World War III right now. And this is the thing, see, the consequences of people not giving attention and putting to politics and policies and what's actually going on could lead to our young women and children now having to go out and die. Okay.
Facts.
I mean, that's where we're at right now. It's getting pretty real. I've been kind of like, not really going to happen. But yeah, now you have 600 missiles being launched at Israel. Israel necessarily has to fight back. I don't blame them for it. If it were us,
yeah.
Right. I mean, we had 2 planes crash into buildings and knock them down, and we got upset and we bombed the crap out of Iraq. Right. So, let alone 600 missiles being launched at us, I think we'd be pretty pissed off, and we'd probably be nuking people. Right.
100%.
So for Israel to go back and defend themselves, they're justified to do it, 100%. But the problem now is that puts us on the path now, right, where we could be heading to a world war. And you already had Putin come out and say, hey, Sleepy Joe, if you get involved, we're going to side with
Iran,
right?
Yeah.
How disrespectful is that? Isn't that crazy? But they don't fear us anymore.
Yeah.
They don't fear the United States. They don't respect us at all. And why should they? Why should they? Look at us right now. We're a joke.
100%.
We're a total joke.
I mean, when you have the Russian president coming out and having a nice interview with Tucker Carlson and says the American people, the West, is more worried about making sure that DEI is implemented within the Armada, the world. I mean, think about it.
Right.
Everybody wants to be on top of the U.S., right? We are the number 1, right, nation. Now we're second, right? China is pretty much leading now. I heard there's a study that's saying that now China is one of the most massive, armies that we have, of course, and they can say that. Maybe they're looking at it because of all the all the crap, all these generals with tutus and all these. I mean, think about it. This is what they see.
There are generals wearing dresses, is what you're trying to say.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Well, wearing dresses. I mean, come on. I mean, you have emperor, health directors, Levines, you know what I mean? Like an actual guy, at the woman, long hair. I mean, think about it. People are looking at us from the silence. How low can America get, man?
We're a total joke, guys. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Anybody that's out there, let's be real. Think about where we were before, back in the time, the greatest generation, right? They talk about, the veterans from World War II, the 50s, we had morality. We all had a common belief as Americans. Yes. When people say diversity is our strength, which is a lie. How is diversity a strength, guys? What is that? That means that we're all different, right? That we're all different. Somehow that's strong. When you put a team together,
it's a strength when you respect everybody's opinion, regardless.
Well,
right? And then they don't allow you to do that, right? Now it's my opinion, or we're against you, right? I think that's where diversity is strong, is when we allow the diversity, whatever it may be, respecting everybody's views.
Well, I would say if diversity, if you're talking about, yes, you have people that have different opinions and different points of view, right? And they all come together. But at the end of the day, you have to have come to a single goal and a single set of values.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you're a team in any sport, right? Yes, you have a diversity of skills, a diversity of intellect and gifts, right? But at the end of the day, you have to come together as a team, right? With one goal, and that is to win, right? So you have to buy into a system, if you will, okay? And that's the problem, is that we don't do that. Now it's like hate America, we've done away with it, right? Before, whether you were left or right, we all agreed we respected the American flag, we respected freedom of speech, we respected our constitutions, right? We respected our country. We loved our country. It was our home. That was what brought us together. Now it's a case of, no, diversity, meaning that it's okay to hate America. It's okay to not tolerate Christians and their beliefs, right? Lack of tolerance. So it's unbelievable. It's hypocritical.
Yeah.
So I think for me, when you hear it, I think it's a stupid statement. It's not what you guys think it means. I don't believe diversity is our strength. In what they really define diversity to be.
Right.
So that's just my take on it. The other thing too I wanted to bring up too, my other pet peeve, which is probably random too, is this whole which I'm gonna call you out on a little bit, Alex, because you tend to use it, and I have before, is your truth versus my truth. There's only one truth, right? So my truth or your truth used to be your opinion, my opinion. My opinion doesn't necessarily mean it's truth, right? That's just my opinion, right?
But what is truth?
Truth. There is truth, right? The sky is blue. That is the truth, right?
Not if you're colorblind. I am. Right? It's not that person's truth. So what I mean about everybody's truth is based on their own reality, right? Because what is truth? We don't really know what truth is. We know history, what we've been told of our American history, but it's not our truth, right? Because we didn't live it. We weren't there.
Well, that's your experience and that's your point of view. See, there's a difference.
Yeah.
See, truth is truth. This is a table. That's the truth, Alex. Okay.
This is the table. Yes.
And if I hit this table, my arm's not going to go right through it. I can't walk through that wall.
Yeah.
Right.
It's my truth and your truth. We hit it together. So yes, it is. Right.
Right. So so somehow truths have been replaced with what we used to call points of views, experiences. Right. That's really what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My life experience gives me a perspective. My perspective doesn't mean it's actually the truth.
Right.
Right. You know what I mean?
But then we have to circle back to what truth are we talking about, right? We have to be more specific because we're being very general with what we're talking about truth. I mean, we have to actually be specific on what truth we are talking about.
Well, the way we have it used now is in the context like, hey, that guy that guy abused me sexually. That's my truth. I'm speaking my truth. Did he really abuse you sexually? Let's look at the facts and the evidence.
Right.
I don't want to hear about what your truth is. Let's find out what the truth is.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
and that's how it gets used, right?
Yeah.
So, and I don't even know how I bring up random stuff, but it's something I've been thinking about, right? That's make sure I wanted to get out on one of these podcasts because it's interesting when that whole narrative started coming out. I would talk to a friend of mine, Holly, who we talk every day, and I caught that. I was like, it's crazy how they're using this truth, my truth, your truth. There's a reason for this.
Yeah, but for that, there is a truth.
But you never even heard that phrase,
right.
My truth, your truth. When did you hear? You didn't. Well, that's like a 5-year, 10-year deal.
Yeah.
That wasn't even a term. My truth, your truth. Speak your truth. Speak my truth. That's a new concept. That's a new phrase.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, that's true.
Truth.
Right.
I mean, there are truths. There is the truth. There's only male and there's only female.
Right.
That's the truth.
Right. It's not subjective.
It's not subjective. That's the truth, right? So there are truths, but at the end of the day, the only truth that you have is your own truth, right? Your own reality, your own life.
So if you think you're a woman, because in your reality you think you're a woman, but you're really a guy, is that truth?
For them, it is. It may not be for us.
Perspective. That's their point of view.
But for them, it is. It's their truth. But it doesn't. And I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem is them forcing their truth on me. But it's not truth.
Look at what's the definition of truth in the dictionary. My point here is that you cannot use that word in that context.
Truth is conformity to fact or actuality.
There you go.
Reality, actuality.
Correct.
The reality of a situation. That's what truth is.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But that's where it gets fuzzy, right? The reality of a situation. Everybody's reality is based on their own experiences.
Well,
right. That's when it starts to get fuzzy. Is this third definition?
I don't think it's fuzzy at all, brother. I think that if you just look at this logically, it's just talking about reality. Like that dog is attacking you. That is the reality, whether you think it's not attacking you or not.
Well,
right?
Of course.
Right.
Yeah. There's some truths
you might not think that, right? But that's the truth. There's only one truth there.
Or that the dog may be playing with you and you think it's attacking you. So we don't. I mean, right?
But I'm just saying though that if the dog actually is trying to attack him,
the dog bit me,
and that guy thinks it's just playing with him, right? But that dog's actually trying to bite him, and it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Then that's his truth is not the truth, is what I'm trying to say. So what I'm saying is you can't use the word truth in those contexts. Those are perspectives, opinions, point of view. That's where those words are used. Am I making sense now?
No, I understand
somehow we've taken those words away and inserted the word truth. And I want to fight back against that because I think it's a problem.
Yeah, I think it's more reality in for the person than truth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think
that your reality. Use that word then.
Yeah,
use the word reality.
It's more reality than truth because in somebody, let's say somebody got in from experience they got raped, right? Mm-hmm. In their head they have a memory of getting raped,
right?
But even our past, we don't realize if it's true or not. Think about some of the things that happened to you as a kid and how you remember certain things.
Well, yeah, we've talked about this. You were talking about how there were certain things that you remember that are in your memory, and so it doesn't mean it's necessarily the truth, right? But at the end of the day, there is a truth.
Right.
There is a truth, right?
But our memory may not be the truth. And I brought up the just somebody getting raped. It based on their experiences, what they see, maybe they didn't get raped, right? Or maybe
the truth probably isn't that they did not get raped, is what you're saying,
right? Yes. But we don't know, right? But in their head, it's their truth.
Yeah, it's their
reality. That's the point I'm trying to make.
I refuse to use the word the truth. Because this is the problem. This is how you end. This
But
is
we
how-
wouldn't know. But in their head, it's their truth. And they're living their life and their experience based on that fact that they have in their head.
I refuse to accept the word truth being used in that context. That is their reality. That is their perspective. That is their recollection. That is their memory. Right? But if you put the word their truth, you're giving it more power than what it. You're already making. You're making the decision that that's the truth when you don't know, like you said.
Right.
You don't know.
No, I see what you're saying.
Right.
But what I'm trying to say is to them, it's just as strong as truth. It's their truth. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that it's wrong.
Okay.
Do you get that?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's the truth.
But for those that are
it's their
listening
truth.
to you, it's not the truth. Okay, and
It's their truth.
hell no, it's not their truth. It's
Well,
their
it is their
perspective.
truth,
It's
though.
their perspective.
But their
It's what they
perspective
believe to be
becomes
the
their
truth.
truth. See, all these,
I know
all
what you're
these
saying.
guys, all these Antifa guys, all these BLM guys, they're out there fighting what they believe is their truth, right? All our friends that have their knowledge and their all this, they could spit out all
How
this
about-
history of you know, whatever it may be. It's their truth.
How about
Right?
how about what you say? What they believe is the truth.
What they believe
Okay?
is their truth.
I'd rather
too.
do that because
Right.
when you say their truth, again, you're to me, okay, and you guys cannot
But you see
comment.
how this is his truth? You see the point I'm trying to make?
No,
But that's the point. You're so adamant
I'm
it
right.
is your truth
but I'm right. I'm right about this.
about the fact what that they can't have their own
That-
beliefs, their own truths.
They can have their own beliefs, but I'm not going to say it's their truth because I believe that as soon as you use the word their truth, you're basically making it like the truth, like reality, like it really is the truth. Even though you're trying, I know what you're trying to say is that to them it's the truth.
Yeah.
Right. But if I acknowledge that by saying that's their truth, right? I'm giving them the
It doesn't
authority
make
to.
it right or wrong, though. That's the thing.
Well,
I think you're adding on to you're tacking on making it right when you use the word truth.
Yeah, when you're acknowledging that it's their
Yeah.
truth, you're solidifying it as the truth
You're
for them.
conforming to the fact or actuality of the event. That's the definition of truth. I get you.
That's
I get
my
you.
problem,
Yeah.
right? And this is why you end up having these problems with guys like Antifa or these women saying, "I'm out here speaking my truth,"
Mm-hmm.
right? Because for them, what they're saying is, to them, they're hearing the truth when they're saying that, right? But when you force people to, well, I don't want to say force, but when you change it to what it really should be, which
Your
is
opinion.
my opinion, my
Yeah.
perspective, that now they're speaking with less authority,
Right.
right? So whatever statement they're putting after, they're like, for example, for me, my truth is that Republicans are racist, right? And Donald Trump is a pedophile. I'm just speaking my truth.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Now that statement carries more power, and now that person is speaking with more authority, right? From their perspective.
From their perspective,
right?
yes. Right.
And people listening to them then are now being disempowered because who are you to argue against their truth?
Yeah. Right.
Right? That's their truth. Therefore, you need to accept it. So
And what's our boy Trump's social media platform called?
Truth Social.
Yeah.
I think, man, that was a good one. That was a good one. No, because it's true. It's somebody's reality, right, of the truth. But like you said, sometimes their truth cannot necessarily.
their opinion, brother. It's their opinion.
It's their perspective. It's their reality.
Right.
But their reality is based on their life experiences. Everybody's reality
Correct.
is different. We all don't live in the same reality. We live in the reality that's in our heads, based on our own experiences, our own life, our own past, who we hang
Right.
out with, so what you think you can have or cannot have is based on your own mindset, right?
That's true.
In your own reality.
Yeah, when you allow people to claim things as that being their truth, it gives them pass. I mean, think about it this way.
I 100% understand what you're saying when people use these terms, and it's probably it's a good hypnotic way.
It is, brother. That's a new
tricking
term.
People, yeah.
Yes,
It is.
It's a new phrase. It's a new way of communicating your opinion. So you could
And
be
putting
somebody,
a stamp on it.
Yeah,
like
putting a stamp on it.
You can't mess with this because it's my truth. I get that. That's a good
it's my truth,
yeah.
and you could put anything with that, right? All of a sudden now it's like, hey man, you know what? I'm gonna leave my wife because my truth is that she's not a good wife.
Yeah.
That's just my truth.
Yeah, and leave me alone. That's
Leave
my
me alone.
truth. Yeah,
right.
That's my reality.
And who are you to speak against my truth?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's okay because it's my truth, right?
I get that. I get how they use that.
Yeah.
100%. No, I see that, and I think that's for the most part why
We do see that a lot.
I see this a lot. We see this a lot where somebody's truth, somebody's truth actually trumps my truth and reality. You know what I mean? Because this is what, like you said, I mean, somebody's truth right there, caused this girl to, remove something from her arm, right? To cause something, that's
her truth, brother. She's a boy. She needs a penis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who are you to tell her otherwise? It's her truth, right?
Exactly.
And so, I mean, I know I'm kind of beating this, but to me, it's a big deal. It's something that's always bothered me since the first time I heard that phrase being used, which I want to say was back in the Obama era. I'm going to have to look that up because it's something that's always bothered me. And when it first came out, I was already fishy about it. Like, for example, bullying, right?
Yeah.
Bullying became a big deal back during the Trump era. So it's like, interesting. Now they're throwing the word bully a lot, right? And how are they going to use that? Well, we've seen now how they've used it, right? Everybody's labeled a bully. Trump's a bully. Republicans are a bully, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So that whole
And it's
conversation.
such a generalization too that you can't even. How do you even fight? What is it? What is the definition of a bully?
Right.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
can't you can't even argue that, right?
I mean, it's just like racist. They bastardized it, right?
Yeah.
So there's a reason why these phrases come out, man. It's all, like Alex would say, it's all hypnosis. It's all conditioning us to accept things. And also for people to it gives them a pass to do certain things now, right? Because now they can't be held accountable, So if their truth is that, hey, my truth is that I'm entitled to this clothes at Target, I'm just gonna walk out with it. Well, that's their truth.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm giving ridiculous examples, but
it makes sense.
Yeah, that's where the problem is, and so we got to pay attention to those things, man. It's these guys are always plotting and scheming and
Language patterns that are used.
Language patterns, yep.
Yeah, you have to pay attention to all that stuff.
And we have to, man.
Repetition. I mean, we've seen many, many times where all the media outlets start using the same phrases, using the same language, the same phrases. Insurrection. They just came out with insurrection. They it's all programming. It's all programming.
100%. I see it, man. Listen, fellas. Man, we are killing it. An hour and 30 minutes, man. We are excited. Man. Hey, listen. Hey, Unrestrained Podcast, man. We wanna give you guys an opportunity to join on the conversation, but do us a favor. We all don't get paid. We do this as volunteer because we love to talk. We love to just bring our perspective, our reality, our truth.
Our reality, our perspective, our truth, baby.
Truth. You know what I mean? We want you guys to be there. We want you guys to see what's happening with America, man. And so please do us a favor. Please click on the share button so you guys can help us to promote. Listen, let's beat that algorithm. For some reason, it's being blocked. It's blocking us. I'm looking at it. I'm like, dude, come on. There's certain things that we can put out there, and it reaches. If it's not sexual, if it's nothing to do with pedophile, dude, we don't get anywhere. But these other things, you got the Mulvaneys out there, making millions. Why do you think they're making millions? Because this is what people want to hear. This is what they want you to hear. This is their reality. So for us, we need your help. That's the truth. And we need you guys to help us to promote this. We want to get to more people. If you love our podcast, please share. Help us. Make contact with us, man. We want to hear from you. We know. Give us our feedback, man. Do you like these conversations? Do you want us to talk about something else? Join us. So please, be part of it. You guys want to give final shout outs before we leave?
Yeah, man. Shout out to everyone. Like Alfred just said, just share, like, subscribe, that whole stuff. If you guys can help us out here to grow the channel, and like Alfred said, I don't care if it's 10 or 25 people to a certain extent, but yeah, like you said, we show up because we're hoping that people find value in this. But it's fun. We have a good time.
We're having a good time. Whether anybody listens to it or not, it doesn't matter. We're here having conversation. We're here talking. We're here sharing our opinions, our reality, right? I'm just
Our
kidding.
perspective.
Our perspective.
Our points of view.
Yeah, but most importantly, man, if we get one person, that's all that's good.
That's all that matters.
Right?
Yeah.
That's change.
Yeah.
If we can implement change, and we don't look, just start to think about why you believe what you believe.
That's right.
Start thinking about that. Where did this belief come from? You know, how did I come to this belief? And then start listening to what these people are saying on the news and these politicians, and start to understand a little bit more and do some research. You don't have to listen to what we're saying, but I would implore you to actually look up some of these articles and read these articles.
That's right.
From good sources, right? And look at both sides too. See the left's opinion, see the right's opinion, then come up with your own.
Yep.
It doesn't have to
100%.
be. It doesn't. And if it's different from ours, cool. At least you did some research. At least you weren't brainwashed.
Yep. That'll
Exactly.
be your
Right?
truth. That'll be your damn truth.
Yeah, and let it be. And just go out there, understand what's going on, pay more attention, you know, and just do some homework, man. You know, this is a big election that's coming up. It's big for our country. There are big things happening in the world.
Yep.
We got to pay more attention. At the same time, respecting everybody's opinions, allowing people to you know, as long as it doesn't affect you, it shouldn't bother you. Right? Let people do what they want to decide to do as adults.
Yep.
Children, that's a whole nother story. Don't fuck with the children. I'm sorry.
Don't mess with the children.
Don't mess with the children.
Yeah.
You know, that's a whole nother conversation. As adults, hey, whatever you do behind closed doors,
Your biz.
yeah, that's your biz,
Yep.
not mine. I don't care. Don't force it on me, though. I don't need to see it. Right?
Yeah.
So,
That's the truth.
yeah, thanks, guys.
That's the truth.
I appreciate the time. I appreciate whoever's on here listening, and thank you for that. And we look forward to doing it again.
Yep.
Awesome, guys. See you soon, man. We'll be back next week in another episode on Unrestrained. Take care, man. Take care.
Take it easy.
Yep.